Is anyone here against LinkedIn? Personally, I think LinkedIn is an overall negative thing that most people feel forced into using. It has helped me, but the negative culture it creates outweighs the good IMO. I feel like it pigeonholes people into declaring a title. If you're looking for work, you might be applying for a variety of different positions that are somewhat adjacent to one another within an industry. Declaring yourself as one specific thing is limiting. Also, the workaholic culture it supports, the constant humble bragging, an unnecessary emphasis on superficiality, conformity. Have you ever quit a job over chronic stress? And if so, did you regret it later? I took a voluntary demotion because the director I served under was a micromanaging, narcissistic liar. 6 weeks later, after me no longer covering for her, she was shit-canned when all of her BS bubbled over. I do not regret taking the demotion, my only regret was it didn't happen sooner. Yes, I did during the pandemic. No, I didn't have anything lined up at that time, and my only regret is not doing it soon enough, just because others think it is a dumb idea. Ultimately they're not the one experiencing what you are going through. I felt so much better afterwards and I landed a better job 2 weeks later. That being said, I do have enough savings to last a year. Never regret standing up for your health. Easier to quit if you have something new lined up. Never quit your job without another one lined up, especially at a time like this with COVID hindering the job market. Just claim you have a doctor's appointment or call in sick to sneak off to other interviews. Once you have another offer you're content with, make the jump. If you spontaneously quit a stressful job, you could be unemployed for 6 to 9 months easily with COVID going on. The anxiety/depression/financial instability associated with that is horrid. This is a good advice if the person does not have a 6 months emergency fund to live off. If they do and the job is making them mentally sick to the point where they can't sleep at night, then that's torture. You have to realize the World Health Organization categorized negative mental health from the workplace as an illness. Please nothing abd, nobody will care about your health more than yourself and your mom. So take care of yourself. A job is just a job. Depends. Sometimes stress at a job will kill you faster. If you're in that kind of place, leaving is better. Happy cake day. Or, go to the doctor and get a stress leave note. You can go on temp disability. I quit teaching. I miss my co-workers a lot. I don't miss the actual job though. Teaching is not what people think it is. I've heard this before. Most of my family are teachers and they act like it is the best thing in the world, but for some reason I never did identify what reason. I was always horrified at the idea of teaching adolescents. Out of curiosity, what is it that ruined the whole thing for you? Genuine question. I did, in September during COVID. I was so stressed out working with a high volume of people because of COVID, plus other management issues and the fact that the job was what I consider a dead-end job. I redid my resume, took some relevant courses at the local community college and Udemy, and got an offer after 2.5 months in a job with better upward potential. However, have no kids, no mortgage, low bills in general, a partner who makes more than enough to keep us afloat while he works from home. I have a college degree which I paid for out of pocket, so no college debt, but also the advantage of having a college degree. My partner was happy to take on the financial burden of our household in exchange for my physical safety, emotional well-being, and hopefully my eventual progression into a higher skilled job. We planned everything out to the last detail. We made decision trees with as many scenarios as possible from best to worst case and calculated what our finances would look like if he was unemployed long term. It was a calculated risk which proved not so risky at all due to our circumstances. I have no regret it at all. I start my new job on Monday making 10% more than what I made before, with better benefits and better upward mobility potential. Yeah, the place is basically an indentured servitude warehouse with a slave driver, where they manufacture pans and cookware. Can't believe I let the temp agency talk me into it. This was before COVID. Don't take a job unless you know you can handle it mentally, like the other Redditor said. If you don't have something else lined up, you're screwed. Yes, I started getting daily panic attacks before work due to the horrible management and a spree of residents in end-stage health with beyond subpar co-workers. I was always stressed that I was the only one doing rounds at night while on medication duties. I also wasn't trained on emergency health protocol outside of CPR, so I'd worry I'd forget to call someone. I talked it over with my fiancé and quit in February. I've been working on my mental health and I'm only now trying to get back into the field. I had a manager that detailed my day with a task list by hour but then would add more tasks to it throughout the day even though it was literally full. We were a skeleton crew, and although my manager was compensated well for being worked to the bone, us underlings were not. I also had to work on machinery that could literally kill a man, and my boss would regularly tell me the machines were ready for maintenance without using any lockout tagouts in place. Hell, even if I put them in place I had to work on 8 machines at a time and only had 4 sets of Lodo equipment. I quit after a guy more experienced than me broke his foot in the machine. Yes, A&D, it is complicated. I was at the tail end of a 3-year relationship that was always kind of rocky and exacerbated due to her chronic illness, and had been working a disjointed night shift schedule for over 2 years. One day I slept through a meeting I was supposed to attend because I had worked till 7 to 8 am that morning/night, and was given an ultimatum by my boss's boss that next time I missed anything like that, they'd fire me. I'd had some issues here and there with coming in late to the office because I literally couldn't get myself out of bed, but I still did very good work and overall was a great employee IMHO. It was all just too much for me, so I put in my 2 weeks and quit, with nothing lined up. I split up with my girlfriend and moved in with my parents again in my late 20s. It took me over a year to find another job, but a lot of that was due to depression. I'm not sure I really regret it though. There's no way I could have kept going in that situation, and the stress was so intense that I just never had anything left in the tank when I got home to try and find a different job. I wish it was easier for me to job hunt, but I really struggle with getting myself to do anything related to it. Yes. I never regretted it, at all, not even a little. This was a few years ago. I was there for 4 months, it was awful. I tried an electrician apprenticeship program a few years back. I was so bad at it that I was constantly harassed, stressed, and tired. After a day where everything was particularly bad, I went to the office and quit right there. I had a good support network and was able to float for a while. My mental health improved vastly shortly after. I did. I was working 60 hours a week in a high-stress, high-crises mental health position. I changed to a management position in the same industry but one where I don't need to work with clients. I make about 10% less but work about 50% less. So, it works out. I quit and I was unemployed for 2 months, but I got hired to the best job I've had the day our stay-at-home order started. I felt lucky, but I was already applying since mid-December and quit their job New Year's Day. Being spam pinged on Slack and made to feel shitty even while working the holidays was awful. If you are not prepared to be unemployed for 3 to 6 months, I would not recommend quitting your job. I consider myself blessed to find one in 2.5 months right before the pandemic and possible recession will start, and my boyfriend also happened to get financial aid. Good luck. Yes, I have, and no, I haven't. I've never regretted quitting and I never will. You're replaceable at work, you're not replaceable at home. Yes and no. I quit due to chronic stress and it was the best decision I've ever made. Yep, it was my first job out of college and I hated it. Had to. It was the heart attack and constant flares or quitting for my case. Unfortunately, my body officially broke down 2 weeks after the fact and I have been unemployable for full time for 2 years. Been focusing on career changes they would allow work at home and manageable stress. At least I have my part-time business and partner for me. My advice is if it is a risk to your health, quit long before you take massive damage, because I guarantee that no employer/recruiter/connections will give a shit about your past accomplishments or excellent work ethics once you become officially sick and/or disabled. I did last year. I spent 3 years working for a person that would force me to work on vacation without being paid extra money for it. It felt like I was giving 200% in what I did, but that seemed not to be enough. So, I decided to move to another country and go back to college with some savings and a bit of my parents' help. I started going to therapy because my mental health got much worse because the pressure, the stress, and the harassing I had to endure because of that job. I left my management position in housing. I left for several reasons, but all of those reasons compounded my daily stress. I would legitimately get woken up at 3 a.m. with work-related calls. The vibration of my phone was causing me anxiety to the point I had to silence all notifications, calls, etc. My last straw was my supervisor admitting they would not ever consider giving me a pay raise because I had exhibited a lack of passion in the field. And I'll admit that it was not for me, but I was willing to do it if fairly compensated. I put my 2 weeks in, left, and I have not looked back. It's not ideal, but I was fortunate to pad my savings enough while I hunt for something I want to trade my time for. Yep, just did it in the middle of a pandemic. This is my first week of unemployment and I am still working to decompress. At least the stress dreams and 4 a.m. panic attacks have stopped. Only regret is not pulling the plug sooner. No job is worth your mental health. About to today. Not answering your question, but I hope I can help. My job has caused me an abhorrent amount of stress to the point where my depressive symptoms have taken over the last month of my life. After finishing writing my letter of resignation, I feel a bit better. There are other things that I am dealing with, but I don't think that I can heal while working at my current job. I'll give the letter to my manager when I go for lunch. Had my first job interview. I think I spoke a bit too much. I have always been a shy person and don't talk much. My parents say that I don't talk enough and that is something that would hurt me in interviews. I really worked hard and practiced talking more in interviews. When the interviewer asked me competency questions, I think I talked a little bit too much in some of the hypothetical situations he gave. Most of my responses were about 1 to 2 minutes. Is this a bad thing to do? I also got some of the definitions of the terms wrong because I didn't really know what they were referring to. I was applying to an entry-level job and they asked me some technical questions where a fresh graduate would not know. This is just the start and first of many interviews. Definitely get practice on the interview questions and be prepared to get a lot of rejections. Enjoy the learning process and failures. I already practiced a lot and it certainly helped, but could not really prep for the follow-up questions. Don't be afraid to ask clarification if you don't know something. They should not expect a new graduate to know every technical term, with some exceptions depending on the industry/role, obviously. I have a tendency to overtalk in interviews too. It has been that way for over a decade now. I've told some interviewers that I'm a little nervous during the interview and to stop me if I'm going on too long. Sometimes they like it, sometimes they don't, but I'd rather work in an environment when I can be candid and authentic. What is the best way to answer salary expectations in an interview? I've had many interviews in the past but were fixed hourly rates since they were all internships. After researching, it seems some people argue you should not provide an exact number or range and let the company/recruiter provide their range first and say that salary is negotiable for you, and then some people say it's better to just provide a range. What's the best way to go about answering this? My number is negotiable, as this opportunity is extremely exciting. What is your budgeted range? Patricia Shim 4 degrees copyright hours ago. Thanks, this is good. 42% M reply share report save. Continue this thread. Q. What are your salary expectations? A. I would definitely consider any offer. What is the salary range for the position? Patronisal. Thanks Dajdim F degree 6 hours AGO 4.8 M reply share report save. If you provide a range then you better be happy with the lowest because they will offer you the lowest. I read companies have 5 to 10% more than they will offer to play with. Ask for 5k more, then be prepared with the lowest you will go and don't go lower. Look at Glassdoor for the salaries of the company. Patricia Shim 4 degrees copyright hours ago. I've heard that providing a number the first time they ask isn't a good idea since you don't know what's considered low and high to the company. Edit. The company doesn't have data on Glassdoor for my position as it's a mid-sized firm, not Big4 or anything. 44. 8M reply share report save. You should have a number in mind and be able to defend it. Do some research based on the industry. That information should be pretty accessible for entry-level jobs. Give them a number you are comfortable with. Seriously, just do that. If you ask for too much, oh well, move on to the next company because you likely aren't going to take less than you need. Research, be honest about your ability and experience. Set your number. Don't change it unless you want the job more than the number. Right now I do need the job more than the number as I am trying to move out. Although I do agree with you, keeping in mind the industry average is a good baseline to give the recruiter. Usually if I counter-ask the recruiter to provide a range, it ends up being a stalemate. Now I try to give a figure that I have in mind and I'll quote a number about 20% above that and say it is negotiable. Say $1 million annually. If they don't withdraw the offer immediately, it is a good place to work. Okay, don't do that. This is just something I want to try one day. Research the position. I never give a range but a solid middle of the road number or higher depending on the requirements and responsibility of the position. If you give a range, they'll most likely give you the low end. Make the low end the median pay for the position. Negotiating a salary goes without saying, so you don't have to go out of your way to let them know you are flexible with pay. At the interview stage, just don't give a ridiculous number and you'll be good to go. Use Glassdoor, search the company and see if anyone posted any pay info. If you don't like doing math, I don't recommend this approach, but I'm upfront. I tell them I need a 10% raise or $10,000, whichever is larger, and that it'll take into account my current benefits/compensation compared to theirs. I give them a ballpark estimate, but tell them I can give them an exact number after I've crunched the numbers. This factors in insurance premiums and deductibles/out-of-pockets, company HSA and 401k contributions, stock options, paid time off, and sign-on bonuses in my calculation. I project it into my salary over 3 years. I weigh commute time and flex hours in there as well, but not as strongly. I run all this through the formula to determine what I'd need to get 10% more than my current salary, then round up to the nearest $1,000. Make sure you calculate this based on net wages, not gross, otherwise you'll end up shortchanging yourself. To make them feel like they have some negotiating room, I'll sometimes inflate it by about $5,000, then weigh in how much I'd like to work at the company. Spoiler, I don't apply to companies I don't want to work for anyway, as well as let them give me options like remote work capability, extra time off, and so on. Then we can settle on the number I originally intended, if necessary. Although I haven't always had to, and they accepted the higher amount. Don't give range, then they will offer you the lowest. Also, you shouldn't discuss salary in an interview most of the time. This is something that is discussed with HR once they offer you the position. Best bet is to understand the salary for similar jobs and know what you would be willing to take. However, when talking in the interview, you want to say something along the lines of, while my salary is extremely important, I would like to fully understand the whole compensation package including benefits, insurance, etc. This can then lead you into asking questions about the company and determine if it is a good fit for you. And FYI, you should always ask questions. This is something that is discussed with HR once they offer you the position. Disagree. Nothing worse than wasting everyone's time for weeks only to find out the pay expectations are wildly off. Salary is not a special taboo subject. It's just a freaking number. Ghosting, setting you up to fail and making you jump through hoops. A lot of people are breaking down mentally because of all the emotional turmoil from employers asking candidates to meet extreme criteria for jobs that don't need it, like a college degree to be a receptionist, ghosting, or game playing. It is devastating, but don't be discouraged because these people do that to almost everyone, don't make great employers or end up getting enough complaints to be taken away from decision-making positions. It is hard, but don't internalize the bullying, because as soon as you do, you make a better target for other employers who may only give you a job because they know you'll take bullying. Yeah, the work or starve thing is big, but there are jobs out there that won't bully. Look for them before settling. This defines exactly what I've gone through. A lot of game playing. I caught on to the fact they hire me because they want someone young, eager, and enthusiastic. No. That's good to start a career, but otherwise they'll use that against you. I want a job where I'm just a skilled member. An equal in my team. Not someone to pick up and cover reception, and watch the door, and do absolutely every imaginable thing around the office, outside job description. Though I'd gladly do it if I didn't feel used. At my latest offer. At least these guys were honest. I would have had a long probation, many reviews. The offer was met with a wording of uncertainty. It was my dream job, stable career. But I couldn't do it. Not anymore. Starting to be afraid of these smaller companies and their reviews. A young person won't need benefits as much. A young person can work overtime. Can adapt and grow some skin. In exchange for the rewarding learning, they'll do anything to you. Because they know you won't leave. The last company gave me a horrible review just to withhold benefits. I'm not even kidding. I could say, nah, it won't happen again, but like heck it won't. They're all out to get me. Little and easy to bully. That's why they hire me. I chose a job where they won't use me because I'm young, but for my skills. Where they offer incentives that are the same company-wide. Where I will be treated as an adult, with no probation, good holidays, stock options. I will be a member of a team. A number. I'm terribly saddened I couldn't take my dream job, but I already got sick trying to prove myself. I deserve better than to be the young enthusiastic lad who will take absolutely anything, even a good emotional beating. Is that what it takes to make it? No thank you, I'm done. I'll pigeonhole myself and get lost in a big company. At least I won't have to run errands or go to my boss's house. They don't care about your previous experience anyway. It's not like I can withstand torment and do anything with it. I'll still end up in that dreadful data entry. Because more serious companies see every outsider as some idiot who has to start low. They don't care, so don't bother. See? I got through years of shit and I'm still starting a position in data entry. I turned down 6 offers this year. But I guess that's all they'd hire me for. I finally have a date to hand my notice in at this draining job. I finally have a plan in place to leave my super stressful job that has been a drain on my health for years. I go back to work on the 5th of January on. Will hand my notice in at the end of the month. I am honestly counting down the days. Now I just need to try not to smile when I tell my boss. Congrats, mate. A smile will look good on you though. Thank you so much, I am beyond excited. I know it's not the easiest path, but I know it will be worth it, for my sanity alone. Congrats. I just handed in my notice at my draining job yesterday. I was pretty nervous/scared as it was my first time doing that at a job. After all is said and done, it feels pretty great. On to greener pastures. Did you have something else lined up? Thank you for sharing. I can already feel the relief it will be. I'm happy for you. Hope it all goes well. Best of luck for the future. I remember the warehouse manager where I used to work finally leaving after years of frustration. He had another job lined up before he quit. After he had handed in his notice, he was there for a few more weeks. I still recall him playing show tunes on his phone end of the day and dancing a bit as he was walking in the office on the way back to the warehouse. He was definitely happier and a lot less stressed. Knowing your days are numbered at a crappy job are awesome. It really drops the stress off your mind. I know, right? I have been in this job for 10 years, so I almost forgot what it felt like. I worked with a guy who, after years of being a firefighter solving emergencies, transferred out to a much more mundane, predictable job, but it was 50 miles away. Next time I saw him was 6 months, very nearly to the day, and he looked like he had lost 10 years. Best of health to future you. You mean look 10 years older or 10 years younger? I've lost 20 pounds due to stress and dealing with the idiocracy of insurance during COVID. I never realized how stupid our country is, and that most people can't do simple math. I'm almost out and I have 150 ISH hours of online class left until I'm free. My job and people are stressing me out. I have hair coming out more than normal also. It is a great feeling escaping a toxic job. Fingers crossed you have better luck with your next one. I accidentally smiled handing in my notice once. The boss even said something about it. Looking back on it, it was hilarious and I was so happy to be done with that awful job. Nope, you gotta smile, a big, wide, teeth-baring smile. I am in the exact same boat. I like the people I currently work with, but the work is soul-sucking, and after securing an offer this week, I appalled at how underpaid I've been for so long. Not looking forward to turning in my notice, but so excited to be done with this stupid job soon. Congrats on taking a big step to new beginnings. Always love yourself. When I left an unnecessarily stressful job, my director asked me not to talk badly behind her back. I'm in the same boat, planning to leave around the same time. I also keep counting down the days and keeping track of spending, since I don't think I'll have anything lined up by that time. Good luck and kudos for prioritizing your mental health. I hate my job. AMD need new options, so I've been working since I was 18 and used to really enjoy retail. Recently my dream job closed permanently and I don't seem to want to go back and do that again. I've been looking for ideas and inspiration of new jobs to do. I recently quit my job at Target because it wasn't mentally okay for me. It would cause me to have mental breakdowns and dread even going to get groceries. Can't think of Target without my anxiety going up. I love learning and love a challenge. I'm very hands-on but can't do a lot of physical labor due to an injury in a car accident. I enjoy problem solving and things that require me to think. I hate cold calls and can't stand Karens. I'd like to do something that's not the same every day. I don't mind offices, but I don't want to live my life staring at four walls. Something hands-on but not 100% physical. I'm willing to go back to school and get a degree or a certificate. I'm really good at sales and customer service. Would love to be able to work from home in an office, but that's the least of my worries. I'd like some advice and ideas, please. Full-time and enough to pay bills would be amazing. I've been thinking of going and getting a degree in game design, but I'm not sure if I'm smart enough for that or if it is a good fit. I love being creative and have built simple things when I was a kid in Roblox, Sims, and taught myself small coding, and I seem to enjoy it, but that was for a kid's game, so I'm not sure how that would translate. Please and thank you. Hopefully I don't sound too demanding. Smiling face with open mouth and cold sweat. I've worked at Beal's Outlet. An internship at my university. Oh, the Karens, haha, don't you check out Lead Generation? Company CCD not BCCD 100 plus candidates about creating more interview slots. Never happened and ghosted anyone who followed up. Replied all to call them out and got other people to do the same. American Family Mutual Insurance. My ex-employer tried to lie and force me to give 2 weeks notice. Just quit a toxic job recently after 2 months of seeing red flags over red flags. I was still on probation and told my sleazy ex-manager that I don't think this job is a good fit and that today was going to be my last. His immediate response was, well, you're going to have to give 2 weeks notice. Good thing I did my research before and know that 2 weeks notice is only courteous in my province, Ontario, and also especially because I was still on probation. I basically told him I don't need to because I'm on probation, and that shut him up real quick. It doesn't make sense for employers to be able to let you go without notice, but when you want to leave, they want you to give 2 weeks. They're on a trial as much as you are on trial. Definitely do your research, guys, and know your rights to prevent yourself from being lied to and manipulated. It is only courteous, period. You don't have to get them a notice. You can just not show up. What are they gonna do, call the police and drag you into work for 2 weeks? Employers won't give you a notice if they want to let you go. Give them the same courtesy that you think they'll give you.
Like and subscribe for more Reddit content. Watch the next video at the top of your screen.